Like many states, the Commonwealth of Virginia requires all drivers on the road to carry at least a minimum on their auto policy, a minimum of the liability. Many times, though, as we purchase auto insurance, we don't really think about how much do we need or why we're purchasing the amount we're purchasing. Probably some voice on the other end of the phone said, "I think you need this," and you probably said, "Okay, I'll take it." And now you have an auto policy. But are you really properly protected? And let me talk to you about what your auto policy is and what it will cover, and then you can decide if you're properly protected. So generally, when we purchase an auto insurance policy, we're purchasing it at a liability which looks something like 100,000, 300,000, 50. And I'll walk you through those numbers. The 100,000, which is the first number, is for the other person in the other car. The 300,000 is per accident, and the 50,000 is for property damage that you do if you're driving and it's your fault. So the 100,000 is per person in the other car, 300,000 is per accident, and 50,000 is for the property damage. Now those numbers, the 100,000, 300,000, 50, also go backwards if you purchased uninsured or underinsured coverage. So let me explain how that works. If you get hit, it's not your fault, it's the other driver's fault, and you're injured, and they're uninsured, they have no insurance, then you'll go to your insurance policy and you will then claim 100,000 per person in your car and no more than 300,000 per accident, and then up to $50,000 of property damage on your vehicle if the other person hit you and they're uninsured or they're underinsured. So a quick question you want to think about is, how much are you worth? What are your assets? Because no matter who's driving your car, every time they leave your driveway, you need to think that they're putting all of your assets in the trunk of your car. So even if you're not driving, but your car's in an accident, and it's that driver's fault, the other party who's injured or killed, they're going to sue you because you're the owner. Remember this, insurance always, always, always follows the owner. So let me give you a quick example. Let's say you have 100,000, 300,000, 50. You're in an accident and it's your fault and there's two people in the other car. And one of them, unfortunately, is killed, kind of a worst case scenario. Well, the family of the person who's killed is going to do the American thing and they're going to sue you. And they're likely going to win if it was your fault. Well, the judge is going to come down and he's going to give a judgment on the human life value of the individual that was killed. And they're going to take a look at how much money they were earning, what's their age, how many more years were they going to work, and some other factors, and they're going to put a value together, and that's what the judge is going to decide is what you owe. So let's say in this particular case, you owe $750,000. Well, the insurance company is going to stroke a $100,000 check and hand it to the other family. And if the judgment was $750,000, then the balance, that $650,000, is going to land on your head. It's going to be a debt that you now owe. So one of the things you want to think about when you're purchasing auto insurance is, what is your net worth? And how much more time do you have to continue to work? Because if I had a $650,000 judgment on my head, I don't know if I could come up and pay that. Maybe I declare bankruptcy. Maybe I look at other options. Or maybe I raise my liability of my auto insurance so that I properly cover my assets that are in the trunk of the car. Again, the reverse is true as well. If I'm the one who's injured or killed, then that's going to be important and impactful to my family. they're going to want compensation for that. And if the other person is uninsured, then they can go to my policy and they can file a claim against my policy. And if the limit's $100,000, that's certainly not enough to replace me and the income and other things that I bring to the family. So one of the considerations I'd have you think about and consider is, did you just buy an auto policy because you had 15 minutes to spare and somebody saved you some money? Or did you really look at the coverage you're purchasing, and are you properly protecting yourself? Some other things to think about in the auto policy that I'll show you right here is whether or not you want to have the ability to have your car protected and repair under the collision coverage, and certainly comprehensive. So collision, let's talk about that quickly, is if you're in an accident and it's your fault and your car is damaged, then you pay the deductible. After the deductible, the insurance company will pay the balance between the value of the car and whatever the repair was, whatever the repair cost. On a collision is anything other than comprehensive. So comprehensive is when you're driving and it's your fault and you collided with something or someone. So you hit the fire hydrant, you hit the pothole, you hit the other car, and you want your car protected and repaired, then you would go to the collision. Comprehensive is if something hit your car. So a classic example is you're driving down the interstate, the 18-wheeler in front of you throws a rock, the rock hits your windshield, you didn't hit the rock hit you, then your comprehensive deductible would kick in, and then the insurance company will pay the balance of whatever the car is worth. The only exception to the rule on the collision versus comprehensive is if you hit an animal. Think deer. So if you hit the deer, the industry treats that as if the deer really hit you, because 1 second ago the deer wasn't there, and 1 second later the deer would be on the other side, and just for that split second, even if you hit the deer, it's still considered a comprehensive claim. And comprehensive claims generally are not held against you by the insurance industry. The other thing you want to think about is, do you want to have rental reimbursement and do you want to have roadside assistance? Certainly if your car is in the shop and is having a covered repair, you're going to want to ask yourself, how are you able to then get around town and go to work or run the errands that you ordinarily run? If you have another car at your disposal, then you might not need to have rental reimbursement coverage. But if you don't, then you certainly would want to have rental reimbursement. Generally, it works for $30 a day for 30 days. That gives you a $900 coverage. And that can be very helpful while the car is being repaired. And on the roadside assistance too, there's some third-party companies that you can get, kind of like AAA. But if you want to use the insurance company, then the roadside protection will protect you if you have a dead battery and somebody comes out and jumps the car, if you have a flat tire and somebody comes out and changes the flat, if you've locked the keys in the car and a locksmith comes out, if you run out of gas, of course you pay for the gas, but then the roadside assistance would pay for the labor, and then if your vehicle need to be towed for any reason. So check the limits. Some policies only pay up to $50 for these, and some other policies can pay $100 or more for that as well. The other thing to think about is the different plans that are available through the insurance company. Like everything else, you can buy a high premium type of plan, you can buy a standard plan, or you can just buy an average plan. The higher premium plans will not give you an assessment if you are in an accident. Other plans you can actually earn an accident forgiveness. Still, other plans have the ability to have what they refer to as a vanishing deductible. So the different level of plans available through the insurance company will give you different features. All of them will basically have the same collision and comprehensive and your liability protection, but you can earn certain benefits as well, like having a vanishing deductible or even earning an accident forgiveness based on loyalty with that insurance company over time. One thing to always think about, you should do an annual review, and we're certainly here available to do an annual review at any time for you. That's a courtesy, and we enjoy doing that. Many families have a family physician to make sure that their health is properly protected. Many families have a lawyer and a CPA to make sure that their legal concerns and that their tax concerns are properly protected. Do you have a professional insurance agent that is making sure that you're properly protected? And if not, we would love to be that advisor that you trust. Give us a call right here at Robin Hill Insurance.